Welcome to the Shulamite Podcast, an extension of Shulamite Ministries and Shulamite.com, with weekly interviews and teaching with author and speaker Martha Kilpatrick and hosted by John Enslow. This weekly podcast is a way to stay connected to the ministry. So come experience anointed messages, not giving just another method, but a living impartation.
This is nothing. We'll see you now. That makes me think of, you said the promised land in Joshua and Caleb, wasn't it? And I think I always read those scriptures with an eye to faith alone, I think. But it just occurred to me that maybe part of that is understanding that it's not on you. And somewhere Joshua, although he doesn't say that specifically, but like Paul, purposed to know this God that was leading them. Because it says, right, Moses told him to soak in the word day and night. He didn't want to leave God's presence in the tent. And when he came back from the land of giants and real difficulties presented, he didn't even blink. But what if it's because he understood that it wasn't his problem? That it was more than just God's going to keep his promise and do. What if he understood that it literally was not his problem, because it wasn't his to handle. It wasn't any of theirs to handle, that God had clearly already made a way, and that's why he said, come on in, because he had already solved it. And if you're in that humility of nothingness, I think you have a much clearer, greater, miraculous grasp of the one who is everything. Maybe you see him in a way that you can't see if you're still in the delusion of something.
You know, Jennifer, that's great. Because in Joshua the first chapter, he had to be encouraged over and over and over again. He was weak. He was trembling. He had the responsibility to get Israel over there, across the Jordan, then to fight all the enemies that occupied the land, and he had to be told, stay in the Word and be of good courage. You have to have a lot of courage to be nothing. Don't you? Oh, you're laughing and saying yes. But that's all you need is the courage. You mentioned the word faith. Caleb and Joshua believed that if God said it, then it could be done. They said, yeah, there are giants there, but there's also milk and honey. So when you're nothing, you are going to have to rely on what God says, that he will do it. And that puts you in the position of faith. How are we going to get that in the booklet, Jennifer?
Okay, and that's a perfect lead-in, because Martha and I talked about this, and we wanted to read a little excerpt from this jewel. And so this is from a little section titled Called to Ask. We are not called to be someone, do great things, rule worlds, or save people. We are only asked to ask. That's all. Now ask and keep on asking, and you will receive. John 16:24. We nothings cannot be or do or make, but we can ask. All things are available to nothings who alone are nothing enough to ask and receive. We someone's run and don't ask. We go and forget to seek. We create an unsolvable mess because we fail to beseech. Asking is the only occupation of a child. A child is nothing because he cannot be or do anything. His sole capacity, his one occupation, is to be needy and tell God. And I tell you, it gets me every time, because it's just love. And really, do I tell this? I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this, but I've had repentance since reading this booklet. Because yes, it does require courage to be nothing. But it also requires my refusing to receive the lie about God. Because when I believe, by which I mean all that is in me leans upon and holds as true that He is good and that He loves me, being nothing is not scary. Being nothing is not scary when the one who is everything for you and through you and to you is love.
I'm going to tell an old story. I shared with Rosemary Lokers this issue of being nothing. And she laughed and reminded me, she said, Martha, many years ago, some 19 or so, when you came to Honduras for the first time to speak, and 6 pastors were coming to hear a woman speak. Unheard of. And they had a big place, outdoor place they were going to be. And it was one of those typical occasions when I had no message and no idea what I was going to say. I was a true nothing. But she, and I wept in their porch. She said, I know where you sat on our porch, where you wept and wept, and you said, I have nothing to give these people. I have nothing. I was overwhelmed at the poverty. I was overwhelmed at their need, and I knew that I, a comfortable American, how would I speak to these people, and what on earth could I give them? Well, of course, Jesus, but she said, I thought, this woman is crazy. She's known for 3 months she was coming, and she's not ready? We're on the phone, and she's laughing. We're laughing at the memory of it. But she was not happy at the time, and this woman is crazy. And little did she know that so many times, 90% of the time when I speak, I don't have any idea where I'm going. The whole conference called The Way, I went there not knowing what I would even speak about. I had no outline. I wanted one, believe me. I wanted an outline. I wanted it all laid out. Sometimes He does that. But this time I knew moment by moment. And of course, when I stood up to speak in Honduras, I think it was pretty good, huh, John?
Oh, it's amazing.
And I was welcomed warmly by these pastors.
You were received completely by pastors who absolutely refused to receive anything from a woman.
Mm-hmm. But remember, Paul said, I didn't come to you with eloquence. I came in fear and trembling. He went as nothing. I've never seen that before this time. That's the stance that we have to come to represent God and let Him manifest Himself.
So glad you brought up The Way, because I don't know if you remember, it's a 2 CD series, and it's probably one of the most powerful I've ever heard on the exchange life, on worship, on a living sacrifice. It's phenomenal. But there is a point, and it's in the first CD, I believe, where you're talking to this. It was a praise conference, wasn't it, John?
It was in Anaheim, California, and it was a black congregation, and they were doing Judah Fest praise and worship, and it was literally, they brought you in to bring the message, and then everything else about the conference was going to be about worship.
And you get, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes in, and what you were saying was wonderful, but there was a hesitancy to the way that you're speaking. It's a little bit it's measured kind of. It feels hesitant compared to what comes after. And you literally stopped. And you said to this congregation who you did not know, you didn't know any of them, you guys had been invited out there. And you said, oh, people, I am under such warfare up here. So you literally admitted that right then you were getting hit, you were struggling, you couldn't do it, and you prayed. You can hear people in the audience praying with you. And it's like day and night what happens next. It's like the spirit in you took off. All the obstructions are gone. There is nothing but life and joy and confidence in everything that is coming out of your mouth. From the hesitancy is gone. The almost sluggish pace gone. It's my favorite thing, I think, about that series is that you literally get to listen,
witness,
answered prayer, witness, the power of, Jesus Christ when church, all you needed was two people. All you really needed in that whole place of who knows how many hundreds was one other person truly in the spirit praying along with you. And the gates of hell did not prevail. Away they went, and off you went, giving a spirit-filled, phenomenal message.
We had a absolute glory land. And there were other speakers, and the master of the conference said, this woman has given the message of the whole conference. And he said, now, y'all, he didn't say y'all because it was California, but he said, they have not asked for a penny. They've flown here on their own expense. They've not asked for any honorarium. I'm going to pass the hat around, and I want you to give to them. And they gave. That was, I really loved that church and that experience. I wanted to go back so bad. And so
I'm excited for this. I'm excited for it to go out. And I couldn't figure out exactly what else I had to say, but I want to close with this, if that's all right. Jacqueline got this promise and proclamation for the Lord's message through this ministry in Psalm 67:2 in the Passion. And she altered it slightly so that we could literally proclaim it. Send your words you have given the Shulamites out all over the world so that everyone everywhere will discover your ways and know who you are and see your power to save. And at the end of the day, the beauty of this revelation of being nothing is that it only highlights the one who is everything.
We hope you've enjoyed the Shulamite podcast. For all the latest from Shulamite Ministries, please visit us at Shulamite.com, where you'll find Martha's daily devotions, posts from GetAlongWithGod.com, and the online library of all of Martha's writings. At Shulamite.com, downloading the free Shulamite app is easy, and LivingChristianBooks.com is only a click away. Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover a God worth knowing.